how it strengthens it. And I think that Pastor Bill said how it makes it more concrete. So that's really important. So what are we going to do today? I do these meetings all the time, and the initial meeting that I run into, that I do for folks like yourself who have never gone before, or just maybe considering going, is give you some information that's a little bit different than what I give the folks who actually register and go. So this is more of a generic one that I show to a lot of people to give you kind of an idea of the itinerary you're going to be going on, and some frequently asked questions that we get that hopefully will preempt you from asking the questions to save some time. These are questions that I've gotten over the last 20 years, and I think it helps for me to be able to introduce it to you, explain it, so in case you have something that you have in your mind that you can ask afterwards. So I was running a two-parter. One is I'm going to go through the itinerary, but not by verbiage. I'm going to go by the itinerary by showing you as we route through the country with a few pictures. So you see kind of where we are in the country of Israel. And then I'll go through the frequently asked questions that I know that I've asked, and some pertinent stuff that you need to know if you're considering going. And then we open up for you to ask me questions. And like Julie says, I'm not from here right now, I'm from Atlanta, and I'm not going to be up here very often. So if you have questions that you want to ask me, please ask me. You can answer. You can also send me an email on the bottom of in the back of the brochure. There's my email address there. You can send to info@faithbasedexpeditions.com, or you can change info to russ@faithbasedexpeditions.com, and you'll get me, and I'm the only one that really answers all my emails. So, all right. So as you can see, these are the dates for the trip: March 25th through April 4th, 2019. It's 11 days. It's a good number of days actually to be in Israel. You're able to accomplish and see a lot of variable items that you want to see that a lot of tourists don't see, because a lot of our average dates are only 9 days. So 11 days, the extra 2 days makes a big difference. And a few of the things that Julie and Pastor Bill put into the tour itinerary that most of our groups don't do, which I did, maybe you'll find in just a minute what I'm talking about, that makes it more easy for you to move through the country and quicker. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. Now this is showing the focus. Oh, the battery went out.
Let's just do
There's
this.
3 right there.
Let's do this.
Battery went out.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead. Anyway, you can see the price on the brochure that you have in front of you, $49.80. This includes both the air, the land, all your meals, all your transportations, everything you want to spend on a trip is all included in this price. The only thing that you're going to have to spend when you get there is whatever you want to buy for yourself and your friends. Everything else is covered. So for us, it's important for us to have what we call a fully built out pricing. And this is one of the things that this church has done, but a lot of churches don't do. They don't add lunch. Lunch is one of these things. Oh, there you go. Good. Lunch is one of these things where if you do not add the price into the overall tour cost initially, then you end up going to very kind of fast foods, because they're trying to move you as quick as they can through the itinerary. But when you plan your lunches like we've done here, we get to take you to restaurants that are really nice. And what you don't have to worry about doing is, at the end of the restaurant, everybody pulling up their money and trying to pay for it. That adds about an extra half hour to 40 minutes worth of time that you do not have to worry about now. Also allows us to be able to have a guide take you to places that you normally would not be able to do because you're so crammed trying to make your own payments on lunch. For you eat your lunch, get up, and you walk. And that's really good. So, that's the cost of it. What you don't see there is $8.95, and that's single supplement. What that means is you want a room alone. It doesn't mean you're a single for marriage status. It just means you want a room alone, or with the end of the tour, we find ourselves that the last person who registers doesn't have a room. And before we follow through with that registration, we call that person, let them know, just so you know, we don't have a roommate for you, and there's going to be a single supplement assigned to that. And the reason we have to do the single supplement because the hotels do not like having one person in a room. It cuts their ancillary sales in half. Keep in mind, these guys are business people. So for them, they basically penalize us. They figure that all the hotels, that they can't get 2 people in to order the food, to order the souvenirs and everything in their hotels, then they need to charge us a little more. So they call it a single supplement. It doesn't happen here in the States, it happens overseas. And it's been like this for a long, long time. As long as I've been doing this business, we do that. So that's what that means. Like I said, I won't have anybody pay the single supplement if we can't find a roommate until I talk to you, to make sure that's what you really want to do. If not, we'll cancel your reservation, we'll send your deposit back to you. Okay? All right, so what I want to do now is, as you look at your itinerary, we go through it, I'm going to walk you through it by the map, where we are. And then I'll show some pictures of some of the things, the highlights of where you can be able to see while you're going through it. All right, this is the map of Israel. Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and up here is Lebanon. Where am I? Over here? This way?
If you go too far to that speaker, that's what it was.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, sorry about that. So, this is, you see Egypt, Jordan is surrounded by Syria, and up here is Lebanon. From bottom to top, the country is very small. It's 332 miles long. And from the widest part across down here is only 63 miles. Which is why when we travel in Israel, you don't on the bus very long before you get off again. Because a lot of the sites you can go visit are very close together. Especially when you're in Tiberias. When all of the ministry really happened by Jesus. So that's that part. So what you're going to do is you're going to fly in and you're going to land in a city called Tel Aviv. This is Tel Aviv. This is an incredibly modern beachfront, if you will, type of a place to go to. Everybody thinks Tel Aviv is kind of these back, or even Israel is kind of all desert, all sand. Not the case. So when we land up here, it's in the middle part of Israel, and this is where you're going to stay. And the first night you'll be right on the beach. That's where your hotel's located. You look outside the restaurant and the lobby, you're looking over on the beach. So you get a chance to explore that. From there, we're going to, this is the first day you arrive, you spend the night, the next day you get up, and here's the next day of, the first day of touring. You'll go from Tel Aviv up to Caesarea Maritima, which is a coastal port city built by King Herod. This is part of the city itself, but in this part, what you don't see is, this is the Hippodrome. This is where they did the chariot races. It's still there. It's incredible. And this is, by the way, was all covered. And they've unearthed this. This is what they've all excavated out. It's an incredible sight. King Herod sat right there. This is his seat. So it's really kind of interesting when you get there, you see where he was standing. And what you don't see here is over this area right here is where he built his palace. Right over the sea. So we'll spend a few hours there. This is where Bill typically teaches. One of his first places he teaches at the arena there, or the stadium. From there, we head up to Mount Carmel. I don't have any pictures of that because it's kind of difficult to take a picture from up there. Because remember the story of Elijah and Baal? That happened on Mount Carmel. And it overlooks the Jezreel Valley, or the Valley of Armageddon. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of that. The last battle is going to happen there. We'll spend some time there teaching. And then from there, we go up to Nazareth. We don't go into the city of Nazareth very much because, first of all, it's not much to see there. But we do go to a place called the Nazareth Village. And it's a reenactment of what it was like to be in Jesus' day. It's really kind of a nice thing. We just got to do it about 2 weeks ago. And the people just love it. I mean, they've improved it since the last time you guys were even there. From there, this is all the same day now. Yeah, now you go into Tiberias. Here's Tiberias right here. There's the Sea of Galilee right here. Tiberias is a city on the Sea of Galilee. This is on an area called Mount Arbel. You can't read it right here, but it's B-E-L. This is up above. This is the Sea of Galilee. All down here, and it goes from here all the way down to the end of it. And Jesus' ministry, when he came to the Sea of Galilee, was all right over here. So this is the Sea of Galilee as you look at it from a top view. When Jesus would come in from Nazareth, he would walk through here, called the two names. It's called the Jesus Trail or the Valley of the Doves. He would walk in here and he'd run flat right into Mary Magdalene's home. This is where we're going to spend some time in Magdala. It's been really excavated out nicely now. He would also go to Capernaum, where he taught in the synagogue, where Peter's home is, Peter's mother-in-law's home is. He taught Mount of Beatitudes, where he did the Sermon on the Mount. And then at Bethsaida, where he did the first feeding of the 5,000 multitudes. You see all right here, this is all walkable. That's where we're going to spend most of our time for the next 2 days, circulating all in that area, the northern part of the Sea of Galilee. Sea of Galilee is only 13 miles long, and it is about 6 miles wide. They have several different names for the Sea of Galilee, and I won't go over all of it because I'll take the thunder out of the guide when he likes to talk about it. But this is not a very big sea. It's really a lake. And so they come up with the Sea of Galilee. It's a biblical term, and there's other biblical terms for it. But this is where we're going to spend most of our time around here. This is Capernaum. This is the synagogue location where Jesus taught. I mean, you're going to be right there. Exact same spot where he was. This right here is all the ruins of the city of Capernaum. And down here, you don't see it, is the house of Peter's mother-in-law. We'll visit that as well. This right here is a place called Peter's Primacy. We're going to spend some time there. Peter's Primacy is where Jesus asked Peter 3 times, do you love me, do you love me, do you love me? This is a side of it. This is a church, Franciscan church, that basically is over a rock where they believe, sort of believe, we never can prove it 100%, where Jesus would have fed the fishermen after they came again that day. And that was post-resurrection. So this is really, Peter's Primacy is my favorite spot to go to. I just love it. We're going to spend time on the Sea of Galilee itself on a boat, where you get a whole sense, a different sense when you're on the boat, looking back onto the land, looking back on the Mount of Beatitudes, Capernaum, Tapka, and all these places. But we're all getting together on the boat, and this is where we have some worship time. It lasts about 40, 45 minutes. And we try to do it at the end of the day, which is the best time to do this. So it's great. All right. That's the first day of touring. Plus the second day and the third day, because you're all combining a lot of those time around the Sea of Galilee. We're also going to spend some time up in the Golan Heights. As I show what goes into this area here. You're about 7.5 miles away from Golan Heights. I think you are. Well, if not, you're not going to go there. I thought you were.
I don't know, I think we might have left off.
I think I did. I'm sorry. Okay, forget that part.
Yep.
All right. It's a great place to be. Next time you go on the trip, you can go on that one. Okay, sorry about that. All right. But from there, you are going to go down to Jericho. Now, I've written a lot of stories about Jericho. I'm sure you remember that one. But this is a place where the monastery of Mount of Temptation, where Jesus went and he was tempted for 40 days. This is a monastery up there on the hillside right here, still there. Still active, but only with one monk. Used to be a whole bunch of them up there, but now it's only one. And then, but you get to see it from the ground. We're not going to have time to necessarily go up there very much. We would try to see if we can fit that in. From there, we're going to head over to the place called Bethany beyond the Jordan. This is where baptisms are taking place. This is a location where they believe that Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist in this particular vicinity. And this is it. This right here is a location where we stand. This is on the Israel side. See this little rope right here going through? That splits Jordan, which is their baptismal site over here, from Israel. A long time ago, they made a treaty back in 1967, and this was divided up, and then finally they made a final treaty that they agreed to, that Jordan and Israel combined, that they would split the river, if you will. This is the River Jordan. They would split the river, give half of it to Jordan, the other half of it to Israel. And that's where we go and have our baptisms. Very special slide. Very special slide. Affirmation of baptism. Thank you. I have to get your terminology down. Sorry, Presbyterian.
That's right.
Okay. From there, we're going to go into Jerusalem. Now, in Jerusalem, we spent a lot of time going around a lot of different places where it was in. Now, pictures of that, because we really can't do it justice by showing pictures of what we do in Jerusalem. But we spent a lot of time going through the Old City. This is a picture from the top view of the Old City. I'm not sure if you remember it, but this is the southern steps. Right here, what you see right here is a bunch of mikvahs. These are ritual baths that they've just been excavating quite a bit of it, actually. But right here are the original steps that Jesus would have walked on to go up and do his worship. And this is what they call the Temple Mount. This right here, the Golden Dome, which is now the opposite is Islam. But this was where the two temples sat, right there, that cover the Ark of the Covenant. And so when the last temple was torn down in 70 AD, eventually this was built up by the Muslims. The Muslims control this entire area here. So this is all Muslim. The Western Wall you hear a lot about, the Wailing Wall, it's on this side right here. So this all down here to here to here is all the walls of the Old City. Southern Wall, Eastern Wall, and Western Wall, which you can't see right now. Okay, we're going to take a trip over to Bethlehem to go to the Church of Nativity. We're also going to spend some time having worship service at a place called Christmas Lutheran Church, right? We did that last time. It was really, really fun to do that. This is the one day where you're actually on your own for lunch. Bill thought this would be a fun day for you to kind of get loose, go do what you want to do. A lot of little restaurants there you can go eat. But it's kind of fun to spend some time there right next to the Church of Nativity.
Best falafel.
Yeah, he is so high on this falafel, so it just cracks me up. He loves his chickpea and he loves his pita bread.
Street part.
All right, so as we do some lecturing inside the city, and again, you can read some of your itinerary, and a lot of things we're going to see there. We'll spend a lot of time there. We're going to go down to the Dead Sea. So we're going to, first thing we're going to go down is Masada. Masada is a great place. It's another spot that King Herod built. It was kind of a refuge for him to go to. No one really knows if he ever showed up or not, but he built it. It was really a garrison. And there's a story behind that. If you have not had it, get a chance, if you're going to go, try to find the movie called Masada and watch it. It'll give you a great story of what happened on Masada. Huh?
TV special.
TV special, there you go. This is Masada. It's basically an isolated mound of dirt that King Herod decided he would build his palace on right up here. 3 layers. Guy was a genius. He was just a genius, but he's also insane. This is what it looks like from the top. This is what he built. Right here. Dead Sea down here. Right here on this level here, this is the entire place where he built garrisons and food and everything else. See his chariot here? This is what he built. This is at sea level. See the Dead Sea is at 1,300 feet below sea level. This is at sea level. And Jerusalem is 2,700 feet total, so it's way above sea level, about 1,300 feet from here. All right, from there we're going to go up to En-Gedi. En-Gedi is where King David hid out from Saul. He wrote the Psalms there. We're going to hopefully go inside there and see the falls. From there we're going to go to Qumran. Qumran we talked about where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. In our Sunday school class, Bill was talking about these little parchment things we were talking about, and it made me think of the Dead Sea Scrolls, where they found a lot of the books, and what they found were a lot of pieces. A lot of small pieces of the Old Testament. So we're going to spend some time there. Then we're going to go, and this is Qumran. This is one of the caves. It's called cave number 4, where they found one of the 4 scrolls. There are multiple caves all around that area where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, but this is number 4. And this is one you get to see the most predominant, all the rest of them up the hillside here. Right there. Okay? From there, we're going to go to the Dead Sea. And you get to do this. Yes, ma'am? Don't know that for sure. We're going to try to. Yeah, we're going to try to. Right now, the Dead Sea's having some issues. They're having a lot of sinkhole issues. We don't know exactly why, but along the beach line, a lot of the places that we're having that people went to float on, actual houses, having sinkholes next to them. So they've had to close them. So they're trying to reopen some others. And so the sinkholes are just the dirt is basically caving in. And so where we go is very safe, but it's not may not be the site that we went to last time. We have to go back on our records and find out where we went on. But you go to a place. But this is so much fun. This is the Dead Sea floating. This is where you can actually land your back and just float. It's so much fun. Now, if you really worry about your skin, and you want to look about 10 to 15 years younger, by the time you get do this 20 minutes of floating, you can do this. I know I see Julie there somewhere. Is Julie, you there? This is a different church. They give you permission to show this. This is the mud that you have. There are people from Europe who pay lots of money to go and get covered by mud in the resorts down there. You get to do it all part of your tour price. Look at that. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. All right, so from there, we'll head back up to Jerusalem on the last day. You can see the number of things. We're going to finish up there. Garden Tomb, Yad Vashem, which is the Holocaust Museum, City of David. A lot of things we're going to be able to see there. And then from there, last day, we head back up to Jaffa. To Jaffa and Tel Aviv, where you fly out. So you start there, go all the way up to Tiberias, coming down to the Dead Sea area, Jerusalem. That is the extent of where you're going to be. Right here. All this down here, we don't touch. Not that we don't have to or we can't, it's just never part of anything really much to see down there. The only thing that's down of any significance is Beersheba. But we don't worry. So you can see this dark area here that we saw, this is part of what they call the West Bank. This is the area where the Palestinians live. This is part of the treaty in 1967 where they were granted real estate in that area. And you've heard about the issue about the settlements happening, the Jewish operating settlements in the West Bank. This is where the big issue is. The Jewish government has come in and just kind of taken up some of the land and put Jewish people in there to try to intermingle with the Muslims and with that population. So far, it's doing okay. So that's the map. That's really your itinerary. Any questions? Yes, Peggy. Petra?
We're not
going to Petra this time. Was he? Google. King was saying. Yeah, good, yeah. They were saying that the king of Jordan was actually over here when we were in Jordan, when we did Petra. But we're itinerary, it wasn't included.
I'm just curious why we didn't go to Petra.
You want me to take that one?
Sure.
It's a cool thing to experience, but you lose 2 full days to go. And the feedback from our folks last time, even though they enjoyed going to Jordan, and it's actually really, it was a neat thing to get into another country, but that they felt so rushed up north at the Sea of Galilee that it was just and they just really wanted more time, so we kind of decided to, give more of that time to that and to Jerusalem. So, it's certainly worthwhile to go and do. It was just kind of I think it may, I wouldn't say it wasn't worth it, but, as Julie and I sat down, I said, we want more time in these places that we really want to see. So, yeah, great question. Yeah, good.
Kevin?
Yeah, if you're interested, there's a pretty good couple of tutorials on the Travel Channel on a show called Bizarre Foods that talks about the modern foods in Israel and the traditional ones, if you want to get a heads up on what that's all about.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Is there any flexibility with either arriving or departing outside of the group if a person wanted to stay extra time?
Julie, you want to take that?
Can I answer that?
So what we want to do as a group is travel together. We found that it was really beneficial flying out together, arriving in Tel Aviv, and then leaving together. There is an option, and some people were thinking about it, but the more that we prepared for this journey, people just realized that they just rather come together as a group from Silver Valley Lutheran. We can talk about it after. Those of you that want to extend your time or fly differently, we can meet with Russ after this meeting. But we just felt that it was a blessing traveling together and watching out for each other and taking care of each other en route to Israel and coming back.
Did you want to add something more?
People do that, though. You work that out.
Yeah, here's a couple things. Like Julie says, it's really better if we can get everybody to take the land and air together. But if you really want to arrive early or stay late, here's the restrictions. One is we can arrange that through the air. If you go with the air, we can just call it deviation. They don't allow a deviation. Air Canada only allows deviation on one side. In other words, you can do it before and you can do it after, but you can't do both. And the rules about deviation is that you have to depart out of the same city, both from here and also from Israel, not necessarily on the same day, because that's a deviation, but you can't change the departure city from a group flight. So let's say you want to arrive 3 days early, not a problem. We would ask for a deviation. There could be an extra cost for it, because what happens is, this price is based upon leaving and returning on that date. Like any time you buy your own air, if you change the date by 1 day, the price can go up based on what the cost of the price is of that day. So if you want to leave a day or two early, just let me know. I'll talk to our air consolidator who buys all of our air and ask them to get on Air Canada and say, we have 2 people, 5 people, whatever it is, that would like to drive, take off this date, but come back with the group. Or they want to go with the group but come back later. And I can tell you at that point with the extra cost, they do it differently for group than they do for independent. Independent, they usually charge you $250 flat out change fee. They don't do that for group. All it's really based upon if there's any different cost in the air.
Thank you.
But it can be done. Kevin?
Yeah, we looked at that too, and the cost to fly from Israel to say Greece as an afterthought just was horrendous. That internal price. It was cheaper to come back to Seattle and go to Greece than it was to go to Israel.
Okay, let's see if we can keep going with the questions, and then we'll open it for more questions after that, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Husband had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I just had a question about visas. So what is there visa requirements?
No, sir. No visa requirement for Israel.
Okay.
Only a passport.
Okay, just a passport. What about going to the West Bank? Is there nothing to go to West
No,
Bank?
because when they did the treaty of 1967 between the Palestinians and the Israelis, they opened up the main road thoroughfare going through, it cuts right through the West Bank. So the only other area that you go to West Bank, that is what we have to be controlled, is when you go to Bethlehem, Jericho, Hebron. These are places that are governed and security-wise take care of by the Palestinians. But we have special permission to go and drive and to go into those countries without a visa. That's not part of the country without a visa. That's not a problem. The West Bank is not an issue for us.
Okay.
Only Gaza. You cannot get into Gaza.
The only other thing I just think of is the time frame, the dates you have. I didn't look at the calendar, but I think that's during Ramadan, is that? Or Ramadan?
No, Ramadan. That doesn't really affect us.
Okay, that's not going to be effective.
No, sir, not at all. Okay?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep it going here. Then as we go, we'll see if we have, yes, ma'am. One more question.
I just wanted to ask about the tour buses.
The tour buses,
Our tour buses are very nice. They're no older than 3 years old. And we'll get into that in just a minute about what they have and what they don't have, if you don't mind to wait for that. Okay.
About age, is there a minimum age?
Not a minimum age for me, but it all depends on what the church wants to do. I don't set those minimum, or is there a maximum age? We have some physical constraints we'll talk about. But as far as the age goes, it really depends on the true leaders, the pastor, and what they want to do in regards to allowing. I've had infants all the way up to people in their 90s. So,
And we'll, you know, if we have people that want to go that are, you know, we'll address that.
Yeah.
You want to just finish and then we'll do.
okay, let's go through these relatively quick because we can. This is always the first question I get, is it safe? And I can ask Kevin or anybody else who's gone with us before, or Melanie to talk about it. But I will tell you, I just got back on Friday night, and again, my 5th trip already this year. I'm going to go another 4 trips before June. Honestly, would not do this if it was unsafe. I wouldn't do it. I mean, my wife goes with me, my son goes. I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to places. For a long time, we never went to Egypt. For about 6 years. We cut it off when Mubarak was taken under government. I felt at that time I could not control or guarantee people's safety. So we stopped going to Egypt. We're now starting to go back to Egypt. So if I felt at any point that it was unsafe for us to go there, I would contact Bill and I would say, Bill, we need to postpone this. But I have not had to do that for the 20 years I've been here. Only in Egypt. And that was a very obvious one. And then 9/11. But that was forced upon us because that's when the airlines were shut down. So please, get it out of your head at all. Tell your children, tell your parents, whoever you need to talk to, extremely safe to go in that. This is a very modern country, very modern democratic country. And when you get there, you'll realize about the second day into it, there was nothing for you to worry about at all. Okay? All right, shots, you don't need any kind of shots, no special immunizations for this. It's not a third world country, so you don't need shots for that. So those, you stick that out of your head. What's included? In this case, all your meals are included. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are included in the price. The breakfast and dinner are all part of the buffet inside your hotels. Lunch is done outside while you're touring. I have no clue where we're going to go to lunch. It's always set up by the guide, but it's all included. So, like I said before, there's not very much money you have to spend unless you want to spend something for yourself or spend for a gift. All that stuff is included. The tips, when we do it, you're part of your price. It controls all the tips we pay out for the guide, the driver, the hotel staff, and in this case, the tips for the lunch as well. So tips, you don't have to worry about. It's all taken care of. In fact, when you go and check into a hotel, like any other hotel, and the bellman picks up your bags and takes you to the hotel, you don't tip them. That's taken care of by me or by the pastor, whoever goes on the trip that takes care of that. That's all part of your price. Tips are not something extra you have to pay. Okay, drink the water, absolutely. I drink the tap water there. I mean, there are a lot of countries overseas that you don't do that. Egypt being one of those. Jordan's iffy, but Israel is really good. They have mastered the desalination machine industry. They are so good at what they do. I mean, the water tastes good, and I've never had a problem with it. People actually don't tell me any issues they have with the water. But if but in case of that, if you're curious about whether this is going to affect you or not, some people are still worried about it. We have bottled water on the bus, which is free to use. So we put it in the dashboard, it's cold, bottled water, take as much as you want. Okay, but that's if you're concerned about the water, get there. Okay? Do the buses have bathrooms? The answer is no. It's not Egypt, it's not Greece, it's not Jordan, where you drive a long time sometimes before you get to a bathroom or stop. Again, in Israel, because it's such a small country, we're driving probably the longest is an hour. But there's so many different spots all along the way, shops and convenience stores and things like that. If somebody has an issue, they need to go to the bathroom, we can stop and pull right over and let you someplace. Again, it's not a long stretch of place where you drive, there's nothing to see and no facilities. So with that being the case, the buses there have decided that they simply don't need to have bathrooms. You will find bathrooms in buses in Greece, for example, but you don't need it here. And you find bathrooms in Jordan, but you don't need that here either. Yes, ma'am?
What in general are what is the custom for using restrooms there? If you have to go into a store or something like that, I mean, is it okay or?
Yeah. They may not be as fancy as they are here, because they typically aren't. But some of the restaurants that you go to, like from the sites, like the Mount of Beatitudes or in Capernaum and other places like that, you have to pay a shekel to get into it. So we always make sure people know before we go there. We try to think the bathrooms that don't require any kind of payment. By and large, they don't. Only a few of the sites require it. Almost never in Jerusalem, but it's really outside of that. And the facilities are nice.
That's what I said.
But just so you know, they can run out of toilet paper, because again, that's not something that's a priority to you guys. And a lot of times the bathroom cleanliness and everything is controlled by Bedouins. These are the nomadic tribes that actually kind of squat and claim their land. Well, they make their money by working the bathrooms. They're the ones that let you ride the camel. They control all the camel. So they're industrious people, but they don't quite have the same hygiene standards that we have. But they keep the bathrooms clean, but the bathrooms themselves, may not be as fancy as you have here. Just be prepared for that. Okay? Money. How much money should you bring? I've actually raised this. We've had a couple of groups go out there that have brought $100 per person, and before you know it, it's out, and they're having to use their credit cards, and they don't like that. So what I'm telling people is two things, rule of thumbs for me. One is, bring $200 per person as spending money. Again, here you don't just buy lunch, so I think that's a little overkill, but I've been told by the people that I need to up it. So I'm going to up it for you. Recommendation, $200 per person. Lower denominations, 1, 5s, 10s. Don't do it in 20s, 50s, and 100s like that. Because when you get ready to make change, which is come back to you in shekel, which is their local currency, you want to make sure that you're keeping a lower denomination. So if somehow the calculation gets a little whacked out, you're not off too far from what they're doing. Give a $20 bill for a $3 deal, you may end up getting some shekels if you can't quickly calculate in your head to make sure that's the case. But I recommend, here's for me, I recommend what you do is you go to the ATM machines there, into the hotel, get yourself out $100 worth of shekels, and you spend that before you spend your American money. Because if you use up all your American money, if you go to the ATM, you get these shekels back, you're going to lose when you transfer it back to the American dollar. So it's easier for you to spend the shekels while you're there if you don't use your credit card than the American money, and run American money, then you get stuck with shekels and bring it back with you. So I recommend that hotels have ATM machines all over the place. They kick it out in shekels, like I said. And the currency exchange for shekels is like 3.5 to 1. So say 4 as an average for calculation purposes. So for every dollar, you'll get 4 shekels. So when you do that, I simply go and I get $100 worth of shekels, and that's what I spend first. All my shekels before I touch my American money. Because I don't want to go back home with American money. If you have a credit card, that's fine too. Most of the facilities you go to, will accept your credit cards. But the one location you don't do your credit card in, where cash is needed if you want to spend it, is in the old city, where we're actually doing that journey inside the old city. You don't use credit cards there. Because most of the old city is controlled by the people have a little, it's like a gauntlet of shops. And their credit card machines are usually the, and we've had issues where people have taken the credit cards and the shop owners, it's not pervasive, but it happens, they keep the copy, and they know you're only going to be there for a length of time, and they charge you on your credit card. 3 weeks ago, we had a lady who spent $36 for lunch, got home, $3,600 was on her credit card bill, and happened in the old city at a restaurant. So we ask when you go in the old city, which is 2 days of the tour, a whole tour, spend cash while you're there. But since we're going to take you to places that require you to spend for your lunch, you have less problem with that. But credit cards is always important to have, and it's important to have for 2 reasons. One is, you want to make sure you have a chance to be able to pay with your credit card depending upon you get good exchange or not. Second, if you get hurt or you get sick while you're there and you take it to the hospital, well, they're going to want to pay with my credit card before they do anything. It's really, really important. They just, as Peggy will attest to. So, okay? Yes, Ed?
Places like the Bethlehem Christian Shop.
They'll ship the stuff home for you, so you don't need to carry it around.
Yeah, I'll talk about the old city. Yeah, I mean, we have places we go to let you shop. I always get this question, are we ever going to shop? I have some tour leaders who say, no. And some tour leaders who say, yeah, we got to do some shopping because that's part of the deal here. We'll take you to places where you can shop and use your credit card and save. I'll make sure of that. I know this well enough to know that. And I'll tell you where don't use your credit card. The second part of the using a credit card, and again, we'll cover this more precisely when people get ready to go or who actually register, is that you just need to make sure your bank knows you're going to spend your credit card, use your credit card overseas. Because the first time you use it outside the United States, they're going to cut it off. So we'll go over that later. But credit cards are very well accepted. So US dollars, try to get shekels first, use that first, then your American dollars, that sort of thing, okay? Power adapter, for every person that goes with us, we give you a power, it's really a power converter. Adapter is probably not the right word. It is called an adapter, it really is a power converter. It converts the power that we have in their particular power, converts it over to fit your 110 outlet, that it's made for your small appliances or your small electronics. Your iPad, your phones, your cameras, electric razors, and things like that. It is not meant for curling irons, and it's not meant for hair dryers. Every hotel has hair dryers. They're not quite as fancy as the ones that you like here, but they do the job. But I will tell you, after about the third day of touring, you are not going to care what you look like. You really won't. Vanity goes out the door. I've seen people wear the same shirt, same hairdo. It's amazing. You just don't care. So don't worry about that so much. But there are hair dryers. But the power converter that you get is really meant for you to be able to power up your small electronics. Everybody will get one. If you want more, they're on Amazon. Just type in Amazon, go to Amazon, type in power converter for Israel, and you get a pack of 3 for $7. So if you want more, but we give you one. It's a travel packet, and you know, Julie knows all about the travel packets we send. It's good information for you, but that's just one little apparatus we put in it. But also, and I asked a question about CPAP machines. We get a lot of folks that have that, and it works with the CPAP machine as well. Okay? All right. Yes, there is internet in all hotels. You used to charge for it, they don't charge for it anymore. Here's the caveat. All the hotels, pretty much other than the ones that have been built over the last 5 years, those prior to that, have been retrofitted for their internet access, their Wi-Fi's. You can only imagine that when they started retrofitting all this, they probably didn't get a lot of help from the tech folks. So they simply retrofitted the main server is downstairs on the lobby. All the hotel rooms going up, the higher you go, the slower it's going to get. Really frustrating. And in my business, I want it all the time, so it's really frustrating. So if you get to the point where it gets too slow, simply go down to the lobby with your computer or your phone or whatever else and use it in the lobby, because it's very, very strong there. Like I said, there's no charge for it at all. Secondly, every bus that we use has Wi-Fi on the bus, and they perfected that. So it helps you to be able to use your your phones or your iPads while you're on the bus to receive emails or texts and things like that. However, when you get off the bus, depending upon your plan with the cellular, you want to make sure you put it back on airplane mode. Because once you're off the Wi-Fi and you're on off airplane mode, if you don't have airplane mode on, you're then going to start getting all your texts and all your emails, and it's going to be a whole different kind of price for all that. But we want to make it easy as we possibly can while you're doing most of your travel. So on the bus, you'll have Wi-Fi as well. Okay? Dress code. Let me go through it real quick. Traveling to Israel, like I said before, after about the third day, you won't care what you look like. It also goes with dress. So under normal dress, the rule of thumb is this: be comfortable. In March, I'll show you in just a second, the average temperature is around the 60 to 70 something degree area. But it can still be cool. In the morning, it can be cool at night, getting back to the hotel. But you want to dress comfortably, comfortable shoes, comfortable outfits, something that you feel comfortable walking around and doing touring. You can walk on grass, cobblestone, sand, dirt, all that kind of stuff. Whatever you like to walk in, tennis shoes, sandals, flip-flops, I don't care. As long as you, and they don't care either, but as long as you have something you feel that you can walk distances on and feel comfortable, that's what you want to wear. The key with this type of touring is to make sure you understand there's walking involved. It is not meant for the faint of heart. I just have to make this very clear. It's not that you're going to walk distances all at one time, but you're getting on and off the bus constantly throughout the day. You're walking up hills, down hills, especially in the old city, and you're walking a hard pan the entire time. It's not that you can't do it, just be prepared that you have to wear a pair of shoes that really are comfortable for that kind of walking. Really, really important. Kevin?
Anything special if you're going to be walking up Masada rather than taking the tram?
Be in shape. Prepare. Or just be
I've done it about 7 or 8 times, and that's about 6 times more than I should have done it. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a big trip. Secondly, you probably won't get a chance to do it too much, depending upon the timing, because it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to do it. By the time you get done, the touring up above is probably almost over. So we try to discourage people from trying to do the walk up on that. It's just like Bill said, it's strenuous. It's really, really hard. But when you're on the top of Masada walking like that, there's nothing to it. Walk up Mount Arbel is going to be the only other thing that would be a little bit taxing, but that's a stroll. I mean, it's a hike, but it's a stroll.
I think our average was like 6 to 7 miles a day,
Yeah.
but not all at once.
Not all at once, and we actually, the trip I just took, we were doing between 15 to 23,000 steps every day. But again, a lot is on and off a bus, which goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. So you understand, you got to be in shape, not super shape, because I'm not. But you got to be able to keep your wind and be able to walk up like a flight of stairs without getting too winded. You know, that sort of thing. So just be prepared to just walking inside of this thing. You just can't emphasize that enough. You are going to have some exercise going. And remember, you're traveling. You're not sleeping in your own bed. You're sleeping, but you're probably not resting as well as you normally would if you're here. Your time change takes about 3 days to get acclimated. So all of that's going to help you be a little more strenuous than you want it to be. The first couple of days, we try to keep it light so that we know that people are going to try to get acclimated. But clothing is really important, just to be comfortable. If you're cold, be comfortable. If you're warm, you can layer. We always tell people to layer. Bring light stuff you can put on and take off. Yes?
What about sunblock?
Sunblock, definitely sunblock. Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. Sunblock hats, always. I mean, a lot of places where you go, there's no coverage. So you just want to make sure that I wear sunblock, I wear a hat, thanks to my wife. So I used to have to do that. But it's really important. And even in March, you're going to have a lot of sunny days. And, you know, no. You need sunblocks to help your skin, is what you want to put on. Anything if you're for the sun. Okay? Down at the bottom are for visiting holy sites. So again, we'll go over this quickly. The only 2 requirements for holy sites. And holy sites are things where you require to have a dress, and you'll always be told the night before when we're going to do that. And anytime you're in Jerusalem itself, the city is considered a holy site days. So it's always dressed conservatively. That's really what that means. And what that means is that all women and men, you have to have your shoulders covered. It can't be up to here. It's got to be down here. And your knees have to be covered. Now, some folks, especially the younger group, they think they can wear shorts and pull them down. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. It's offensive, to be honest with you. So when we say that you're not supposed to wear shorts, don't wear shorts. What I have is the pants that zip off the bottoms. You can buy them at REI, Eddie Bauer, places like that. And I just wear those. If I know it goes to a place where it requires me to not have shorts on, I put them back on again. And then I can walk the rest of the time. And it's only a couple spots like in Tiberias, when you go to Capernaum, and when you go to the Mount of Beatitudes, there's no shorts required. Everything else on the whole day, you can wear shorts. So I wear it where I can just take the bottoms off and get my shorts again. But when we're doing in a country like this that has specific dress codes, you really want to honor it. You know, when we go there, we're in their culture. If they came here, we want them to honor our culture. So we don't want to do anything that's offensive to them. So I think you'll go there and you see other groups that have shorts on. That's fine. That's their issue. That's not ours. In our groups, we ask the people to dress appropriately when told to. Usually it's not an extended period of time, but except when you're in Jerusalem. And that's just the key, because everything about Jerusalem is holy. Yes, sir?
So, excuse me, when you say a hat, I'm assuming I'm not going to wear a ball cap. It's going to be a yarmulke?
No, any kind of hat you want.
Oh, any kind of hat?
It's a head covering is really what it is.
Okay.
The only time you have to wear a yarmulke is for men, if they don't have a hat or a head covering, is when you go to the Western Wall.
Okay.
That's the only time.
Okay.
And they have little paper yarmulkes that you put on your head. I mean, it's not that it does anything other than it honors what they want you to do. But other than that, most of the time, hats aren't required. The hats are required because they're sunny, because you want to be able to protect your skin.
Okay.
That's really why. Okay? Here's the average temperature for March, 60 to 70. I would say, and the average right now is probably going down like 55 to 74, 73. That's the average. I will tell you, there's a chance that you can actually have a little bit of rain. We just got hailed on 2 weeks ago in Bethlehem. The largest storm they said they've had in a long, long time, but the size of marbles. But it comes in and goes really fast. So you can't have that. But primarily in March and April is a really good time to go there for weather-wise. It's comfortable weather. It's not very humid. It's not hot at all. but it's really, really comfortable. And when you're traveling, when you go to the desert, add another 10 degrees to that, it's still very comfortable. When you get into April, a lot for April and May, now you start getting the hot times. But you're in a great time. We talked about walking. Travel insurance, I get this question a lot. Do I need travel insurance? I would recommend that you certainly consider it. I have had a number of horror stories over the last 20 years of people who thought that their credit card covered them, especially American Express, over travel insurance. And they get themselves hurt, or they're a month out from their tour date, departure date, they make their final payment, everything's done, you're in a 100% cancellation penalty, someone in your family dies, gets hurt, your daughter has her baby sooner than you thought they were going to have it. Whatever it is that forces you on a medical reason to have to cancel, that's what the medical insurance is for.
I just want to add, Julie and I it's kind of a requirement, because we're going as a church, we're really saying that. I understand that's a significant cost for this. I think it's going to be around 400.
472.
Yeah. I think we're under 5,000. Or I don't know, I didn't see our new list. Anyway, okay, whatever. So the thing that the thing that you want to think about with this, because we can get, careful, travel insurance. We need travel insurance. We could get travel insurance through our church insurance for a lot less. But what that does not cover is if something happens before the trip. This insurance that you get through faith-based expeditions, if you were to get sick, if you were to hurt yourself, it's trip cancellation insurance as well. So that is what this gives you. It gives you protection if you were to get sick, if a family member were to get sick, if something were to happen. That's what we cannot provide for you via the church's insurance. We can get travel insurance for our whole group, for our church, for a lot less. And we worked through this the last time we went, and we decided, it's a lot of money, but given all the stories, given all the things that can happen, it's just another expense, but it's important. Now, if you can't, we're going to work with you on it, but anyway, I just wanted to add that we're really, trying to get it out of the optional. But if it's a deal breaker, then obviously we're going to talk about that. So anyway, yep.
Okay, well, I'm a recipient of the travel insurance. I don't go without it, because about 6 years ago, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, on my first day of a 14-day tour, I broke my leg in Tiberias. And if it was not for the insurance, which paid every dime of my medical bill, plus I charged the insurance company whatever I missed for my travel, they covered all of that, almost $17,000. And for $400, for $17,000 worth of recovery, it's not just your trip, it covers your medical bills. It's big. So I was saying, I didn't realize you wanted to make it a requirement, so sorry for that. But I will tell you that if I had my druthers, and by insurance law, I cannot make it part of the price. I can't force you to buy it. The tour leaders can make it a part of the mandate. That's their option. But I, as a company, representative of the insurance company, cannot mandate you buy insurance. I just have to offer it, make it available to you. But I will tell you that it's really worth it when you need it. Okay? Yes, sir.
Now, medical evacuation, is that flying, let's say, that medical evacuation, is that if you have to be sent back to the States?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the asbestos cover that?
Yes, it does. And so what that is for, as an example, we had a 27-year-old man and a 26-year-old woman who were married, had 3 kids, very young. They decided that they want to go on a trip with us, and it was several years ago. And this is the horror story I tell everybody. This is the one that gets people to really think about twice about this. They had American Express, a really good one, like Black American Express, whatever. And it was very clear. It covered medical insurance, cancellations, and all that kind of stuff. So they got there. First day of the tour, we go to a place after we leave Caesarea Maritima, which is the one that has the Hippodrome. We go to see the viaduct, the Roman viaduct they built. They were told, I wasn't on the trip, but they were told by the tour guide, do not climb on top of the viaduct. They did. He got up there, his wife got up there, and you can imagine it's an old viaduct. It was done back in Herod's day. And as he was coming down, his wife got down, 3 people were coming up, and he stepped on a piece of the viaduct and gave way. And remember, he's 27. He fell, was heading for his head, as I was told, like a flipped over somehow and landed on both of his feet. Shattered his ankles. I mean, obliterated them. First day of the tour. He spent the next 4 days in the hospital trying to get to the point where he can actually travel. He had to fly back in business class because he had to stay prone. He had to fly back with a nurse because he was such high medication for his pain. His wife had to fly back in business class with him. By the time they got back, they had already accrued almost $20,000 worth of medical bills. Before it was all said and done, he was over $100,000+. He thought he was free. Called his insurance company, American Express, and said, absolutely no problem, except one small issue. And the small issue is you read the fine print, it says we do not cover stupidity, which means they don't cover negligence. Very small print. He was told not to go up there. He did it. He fell. He got hurt, and his insurance company wouldn't cover it. Our insurance company will make it very clear that it covers almost anything you do, unless you could, for some reason, show that what you were doing there was such a danger, and we couldn't prove that. We were only told that he was told not to do it, that they would cover it. And so, our insurance company through TravelX, and again, you can go for any insurance company you want to. You're not having to get it through us. My recommendation, get it. And now that it's kind of a mandate, it's going to be good for you to have it. Because again, things happen you just don't know. I've had several people get just before the trip heads out, and their spouse breaks a leg, loses the job. That's also covered. And so the number of things that you have that you just, it's important. I just cannot emphasize this enough. Okay? All right. I like to tell people that when we travel, everybody gets it's called a whisper. It's a headset, so that you can actually be 30 feet away from the guide and still hear what they talk about. They had to have these for a long time, or you had to stand right next to the guide, or you had to be in the middle of the city, or these guys with these big megaphones, they're talking like this, and the big speakers, but they're still hate. We give everybody the whisper, and you're able to use that. And it's really, really convenient. So whenever you travel through the places that are so busy, you can hear and see everything. And it's really good for the photographers too. Because they're walking out there taking photographs, but they still hear what the guy is saying. Okay? Okay, we're getting to the end here. So, does the price include transfers? Yes, really important. If you were to go with, like, we're not doing this right now, but some groups do a land only. They don't want us to get the group air for them, so they everybody get their own air. Well, it doesn't matter, because you'll always be met, especially as a group, at the airport when you arrive in Tel Aviv. You'll be met by one of our representatives. They'll escort you right through the airport process to get your passport, through passport control, get to your luggage. All of that stuff is all handled. We handle it by ourselves. And it's on your way back as well. You'll get service at the airport to get you back to the point of checking out and getting to your return flight back home. Everything is done as far as that goes, representatives. So you met at the airport, you get your ground transportation to the hotel where you're staying the first night, and then back to the hotel at the end. All of that's included in the price. So you're never left alone. And if you came and went at different times, you'll all have a transfer to the hotel, and also have transfers back to the airport. So it's all part of the deal. Any questions about this? Yeah.
This price does not include your transportation from here to SeaTac. So everybody's on their own in terms of transportation to get to SeaTac. We will probably coordinate a time where everybody rides the airporter. That's what Pastor Bill did. Last time I took the ferry and light rail, but if you see the flight schedule, it's not going to work this time. So I'll probably be riding the airporter as well. We've had a couple of couples that drove. I know Kevin and Karen with the Posadas, they drove their own vehicle over. I know Melanie's husband drove her and Peggy. So you have options, but this price does not include transportation from your home to SeaTac and back.
Thank you for the clarification. And that's typically never included, getting from your church or where you are to the airport. So, I thought it was important for you to understand some of the deadlines that's critical for you to understand. When you register for the tour, it's an automatic $400, and you've got to do it by credit card, online. You'll get a code, it's already on the front of at the bottom of your brochure. You can enter by going through our website, www.faithbasexpeditions.com. Again, it's said there. And you go there and you register. It's a $400 registration, automatic by credit card. After that point, you can make as many payments as you want to online, but there is a 4% credit card processing fee associated with that. So you can pay by check, by credit card, by cash, not cash, excuse me, check, by credit card, or money it's a $400 deposit, okay? Second part, land, since you're getting land and air together, December 14th of this year, I have to release all unused airspace. I've got 45 seats held on a seat, on an airplane. If I end up having 30 people register, all land and air, I've got 15 seats that I gotta let go of by this date. Otherwise, I get charged a penalty by the airlines. So this is the first date. So when you think about people want to register, Julie, and they're talking to you about this, this is the first date they've got to keep in mind, is that if they want to go with you and air is part of the deal, they have to register by that date. Otherwise, there is no air. I won't have a seat for you. Okay? The second one is the final payment due date, which is when the final payment has to be in our office in Atlanta by December 16th, 2018. About 100 days prior to the trip. This is to avoid a $95 late payment penalty. So we'll send out about 30 days prior to this date a reminder with your invoice that you've got your invoices due, your payments due by this date, because we know you have life deals that you're not going to remember all the stuff that I've got to tell you. But I'm sending out to remind you that you want to be able to get your payment in by this due date. Okay? And the last one is the tour will actually be closed on March 1st. After this date, I've got to release all of my space I have on hotels, so that the hotels can actually release their space, but I've got to tell them the tour is closed. Here is my rooming list. I've got to submit all of that by names by this date. So these are the dates you really have to be really critical of. Passports, on the other hand, will be a different date. The passport that you have cannot expire prior to 6 months before the last day of the tour. So July 4th, 2019, go out 6 months, and it cannot expire prior to that date. You got to do it by the date. So look at this. Usually, I always take it if it's a July 4th, April 4th, then I would go out from April 7th, 3 days after that, and say it cannot expire prior to that date. If it expires prior to that date, you got to do it, because you will be stopped at the airport. They will not let you on board. And if they do happen to let you on board, you'll have a heck of a time getting back in. And that's the part that's really critical. So 6 months after the last day of the tour, in this case, about 3 days later, okay? And then add 6 months to that. Really important. And I need a copy, especially since it's going to be a land and air, I need everybody that registers to send me a copy of their passport by the final payment due date. I've got to make sure that your name is spelled precisely as it shows up on your passport to the letter. Really important. And I have the birth date and the passport by the letter. Julie?
I was gonna say,
Don't have to worry about that right now. If you look at the table, we have our first meeting in like October or something like that, and I'll take you in the office and scan your passport for you, so you don't have to worry about that. If you want to do it at home, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. If you don't know how to do it, we should usually scan it and email it to me. That's the best way. Don't fax it to me, because it comes in like a big black dot. You can't read anything. So you have to be emailed or mailed to me hard copy. So if Julie's going to do that, I know you did that last time for the other group too. That's really good. But I just need to have that. That's the key before I can actually order the tickets. And the airline tickets have to be ordered 42 days prior to the departure date, and I cannot order those unless I have everybody's passport copy. So it's pretty critical. All right, last 3 slides. I have 3 rules of tourism that I tell everybody, and it's the rules that really apply to make the tour as best as possible for you. And we do this because if it's not abide by, things can happen, such as be on time. When I'm talking about being on time, I mean that when the guy tells you to be at the bus at a certain time to take off, why do you do that? You're never on time? Oh, you're always late. Okay, you don't want to be that here. You don't want to be that person. Being on time is really critical for a couple of reasons. One is, traffic in Jerusalem, for example, and traffic elsewhere, if we don't leave the time the guy tells us we're going to leave, we get stuck in traffic and it'll slow us up for the rest of the day as a domino effect. If we're late getting on the bus before we take off, what we don't want to have happen is you get to a site and we have to rush through it because the next site is usually scheduled. So we ask people that please be on time. When the guy says be on the bus at 8 o'clock, be down there at 10 till. He says be on the bus at 8 o'clock, he means he wants the bus to take off at 8 o'clock. He don't know precisely what that's going to be every single day. So be on time. Same thing when you have a site. Okay, you have some free time here for about 20 minutes. Be back on the bus at 1 o'clock. That means you have to be back on the bus at 10 till. Because at 1 o'clock he wants to take off. Really critical. We get a lot of complaints from our people who go very, very nice places you want to have some time. If we're late, get pushed to that, we have to scrunch the stuff together, something's going to suffer. And it's just a domino. So, rule number 1, be on time. Rule number 2, drink a lot of water. That says actually plenty, you can't see the green. Drink a lot of water. That's the reason we have the water for free on the bus. We want you to drink as much as you possibly can drink. Even in March, surprisingly enough, in February and January, I got dehydrated. In March, the same thing. So we make it available for you to drink as much water consumption you can. You cannot drink enough water in Israel. It's a dry country when it comes to this atmosphere. I don't know why, but it just is. So drink enough water. That's rule number 2. I've seen enough sunstroke, heat stroke, and just dehydration, and you just not want to have that. It makes the tour really miserable. And the last one, be flexible. Now, what this means is that some folks get an itinerary, they read it, and all of a sudden, while we're there, the guy decides he's not going to do the city of David today, he's going to do it tomorrow. And they freak out. What do you mean, do it tomorrow? It says today. I will tell you right now, your tour will not be on your, will not show up the same way it's shown for your itinerary. This is a guideline. It's not knitting, it's not etched in concrete. The guide has full control over what we do in regards to the sites. I guarantee you, you will see the sites that's on the itinerary, but I will not guarantee at all that it's going to be seen exactly in the order by which it shows. Tiberias is an example. Sometimes the boat ride you do has to be rescheduled, which means we have to go to a different thing first before we go to the boat ride. So be flexible. Don't go to a tour like this and be so rigid in your expectations that you're not going to have a good time. In fact, I tell people don't bring an itinerary. Just enjoy it. Just go and enjoy the things you're going to see. Because you'll see everything that's on this itinerary, just not necessarily the same. Okay? All right, that's it. And this is the beautiful garden tube.
Cool. So,
Questions?
more questions. Questions that have to be.
Yes, sir.
When you're talking about the itinerary and this type of stuff, as far as the dress and stuff for the day, whatever you're wearing, or whatever you plan to have available, I mean, is there enough notice that you'll know that?
Oh, yes, sir. Plenty of notice. The night before, and again, this is all assuming that you pay attention while you're on the bus, because a lot of people are talking. But the guy will always tell you before you get to the hotel, here's a schedule for tomorrow. Here's what you're going to wear for tomorrow. It's an easy day. It's, you know, they'll say sometimes it's a modest day. That's their word for saying that's a holy site. They're going to go see. He says it's a modest day tomorrow. Ask him the questions for the whole day, part day, whatever the case may be. But he'll tell you what to wear in regards to the kind of dress. He'll also give you the schedule, what time the wake-up call is going to be, breakfast, what time you get to be on the bus.
Usually the changes in itinerary are going to be the order of which we do things on that day.
Yeah.
Because the tour guy goes, oh, it's really crowded there right now, let's do this, it'll make sense, you know, so they make those decisions on the fly. So yeah, more questions?
I would add to that, they always are in conversation with Pastor Bill.
Yeah, so there's great conversation. And just before this, because I wanted to say, because some of you weren't here for some of the Sunday morning testimonies, let me just do this plea, that, or just this word, that the unique thing about this tour, a lot of churches do this, but this is something that we did and we will do again, is that we're going to spend a lot of sessions with you on all of these sites, so that when you go there, you've got a lot of knowledge about, oh, I know about that site, we did a whole session on it, because that keeps it from when you go being, oh, that's cool, but what was that? And then you go on. So that kind of prep is something that we offer that's really important, and I'll have an additional little deal on our itinerary and some of the historical background and teaching on it and stuff. So just wanted you to be aware of that.
Yeah, and to back that up, on your travel packet that we sent out to you right after you send your final payment in, about 65 to 80 days prior to the trip, there's a book inside that you will be able to use. It's a really good book that describes the sites you're going to go see, that as you're doing these training sessions, you'll be able to pick the book. She has it right there. It's actually bigger now. They did away with pocket size. But it's a really nice book that allows you to look at the itinerary, look at the site, read up on it, and also bring the book with you.
Yeah.
Because not only has a book, that also biblical references and things like that. So this could be another attribute that he does to his teaching.
All right, sorry, I know, let's go to questions. Yeah.
You stay at the same hotel every night?
No, ma'am, you're 3 different hotels. You're at one hotel in Tiberias, Tel Aviv when you arrive, another in Tiberias, and one in Jerusalem.
I can say that. Do you want to pack an outfit for every day, or do they have a laundry, you know, if you wanted to pack pack for 5 days or something to.
Well, packing is one of those kind of a personal things. There is laundry facilities, not like you're talking about, you only have to do the hotels, there's no laundry mat facilities. So whatever you wear, if you can't wash it in the sink and let it dry up really quick like overnight, then dress enough to be able to do that. But again, I will tell you that I wear 3 pair of pants and about 5 shirts and underwear. That's really what I got. I don't wear a lot of stuff. You don't have to. So bring whatever you can bring that can, if you have to, you wash it in the sink with some Tide, these little portable Tide stuff. Wash it, you can dry it in the shower, and you're fine.
If you don't have time.
I think
You
we
don't have
wanna
time.
just add
I
about,
wash it in the shower when I'm showering.
with this tour and the airline, we get 1 suitcase that they get to portage for us at each hotel, correct?
Yes, that's our request. We want to do 1 suitcase each hotel. They're not going to be strict with that, Julie, but
Yeah.
my request is that you only bring one carry-on, one check-in suitcase per person, and your carry-ons, which is normal, roll-on or a backpack, something like that. But everything you bring as far as check-in on the hotel has to go in